things that were said. Thanks to everyone for being here, first of all. I'm in a Marxist organization called the International Socialist Organization. And I do a lot of work with other Marxist groups and also with some anarchist groups. And the political analysis is very deep, it's very sharp. And particularly in the ISO, it's my experience that it's very intellectual. And people have discussions on Marxist theory and things like that. And the historical perspective that they bring is it's very deep and it's very it's pretty right on. But I do feel like it has a very isolated effect from the people. I feel like many of my friends in these circles, assume the position that we have to wait for the Obama affair to collapse so that we can go out there and say, hey, I told you so. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think that the way that we should look at it is that we should basically take responsibility for whatever happens. I think that we should go out there and live and be a part of the reality of the people. I think that this is a wonderful time in history to be alive. This change is something that to me is a privilege to be alive in this day. And like I said, we need to view this as an opportunity not to have one person in the White House affect the change that we want to see affected. This is a time for us as a people to come together and say, this is what we're going to do to make this change happen. And I do believe that it's a lot easier for anti-war activists and for community organizers to affect change, under Obama than it would have been under McCain or under another, clone of Bush. So I think that in terms of the potential to get the population back involved once the Obama affair is over, I think that is something that's the approach that I think that we should have. That it's not that we should go out there and say, well, I told you so. No, we should go out there and say, not with the attitude that this is going to eventually fail and collapse, but with the attitude that if it fails and collapses because we didn't do enough work. So I think that the potential is there now. I think that the potential is there for us to go out there and work with the people who live their entire adult lives under the dictatorship of Cheney and Bush. Imagine growing up for 8 years under Bush and Cheney. What would go through your mind as an activist? If you're a college student, if you were 12 when Bush got elected the first time, and you grew up until the age of 20, you went to college and everything, and Bush and Cheney were in power, and you saw massive demonstrations, and you saw, the ups and downs of the anti-war movement, and nothing happened. And then suddenly you have Obama, and you have 1 million people, gathered in Chicago, and you have thousands of people taking the streets to repeal Proposition 8, and you have thousands of people, to protest the invasion of Gaza by Israel. What an amazing time, what an amazing opportunity to work with that. Not to rely on Obama to make the change that we want to make, but for us to work with that change, for us to work with that opportunity and actually see real change happen. So I think that the work, we shouldn't wait for the people to be totally disillusioned with Obama. We should continue to work and realize that the power is with the people right now. I think that to what you were saying, Joe, we can probably, if we wrote a history of IBAW right now, we could probably just go to one of your guys' history books and just change the names.
Yeah.
And it will be the exact same thing. This debates about demanding different world and changing the systems that led to where we are, and you have an anarchist here who's a board member, myself, I'm a board member, Adrienne. These are the things that we believe in. But just to give you an idea, when Catherine Jaczynski, the first public conscience objector who refused publicly to go to Afghanistan, came out, and she came out on the eve of the Israel Watch in 06, I think, 2 minutes. We supported her, and there was a backlash because people were quitting IBAW because they were saying, how dare you stand behind a conscience objector who's refusing deployment orders to Afghanistan. Then we had the massive, pro-immigrant demonstrations, and we wrote an op-ed and published it on the website, connecting basically, some of the recruiting tactics that they use, and they use immigration status to fill the ranks of the military. And we had a lot of members quit over that. When we went and we made connections between what happened, along the Gulf Coast of the U.S. and the Katrina aftermath to what's happening in Iraq, a lot of people got pissed and quit the organization. When we passed a resolution against Afghanistan, we had a lot of people, quit the organization also over that. So it's